Welcome to the Talking Slotheads podcast. This is Rob DeLeon with the DeLeon Slot Car Raceway, and I'm sitting here with
Ted Anderson, Slot Car Daddy. How you doing, guys?
how you doing, Ted?
What are you smoking there, Rob?
This is a 4K watermelon cigarello.
Oh, nice.
I like the flavor. So, what's been going on, Ted?
Oh, you know, we talked last week or 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. I've talked to you, but anyway, so I've been doing some honeydews around here. I had to take some back burner projects, bring them forward, and the one I'm starting with is my wife's laundry room. It's one of those things that I put it off for quite a while, and I got to get it up there. And we started. We got brand new washer, brand new dryer. I was repairing the old washer and dryer for about year and a half, 2 years now. I mean, they're pretty simple to repair, but then you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm not going to put any more money into it. Anyway, that's what I've been working on, and a lot of projects going on early this spring or this winter.
Yeah, we tried to do another podcast, maybe last week, but I too have been very busy, and I've been clearing out my late mother's house.
Yeah, that's a
And
project.
man, that is some work, man. I'm telling you. Uh, I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But
Oh, it's there. It's there, man. It's just going to take time. You get that. You're already starting to think forward into the future with your move coming up and all that. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you'll get there.
I hope so. My goal is to eventually have a place big enough to set multiple slot car tracks up, because I thought about maybe taking my 12-foot track and expanding it out to maybe 14 feet, 16 feet, 18 feet. But I think I'm going to just keep it the way it is. And I think if I have a big enough place, I'm going to maybe get into maybe a wooden track, because I always see wooden tracks for sale. People are getting rid of them. They don't have the room for them. Sometimes they need a little bit of work. Sometimes they need a lot of work, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's my next move. And then also another thing, I'd like to get that drag strip set up on its own permanent table. As you know, this is just a temporary setup right now, just to kind of play with it.
yeah. I can't wait to see that thing run, man. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And I think at some point, if I have an area that is big enough to entertain, guests, maybe I'd like to start up a slot car club or something up in the area I live in. I'm probably going to go to maybe the Central California mountains. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, yeah. Up by Yosemite.
And if we do it right, I might be able to get onto an area where it has a private lake, do some fishing.
Yes, sir. You know me. I'll be there.
Yeah,
We'll be
that'll
racing,
be
and then we'll do some fishing and some lunchtime, with some fresh trout or something, for
there you
sure.
go. So we talk about slot cars. Of course, this is the Talking Slot Heads podcast. And I thought about, what do I want to title this as? What would I want the main topic to be? I was thinking about several things, and one thing came up to mind. The first thing I'd like to say is I did some racing this last weekend with Joe, and we must have probably put 8 hours on the clock just straight running that track. And we ran a lot of cars. I ran a lot of older cars, ran a lot of new cars. There's cars that are coming out right now, and we'll talk about that in a minute. A couple of the cars that I ran, I would have to say I was quite disappointed in their initial run. Usually what I like to do is take a car right out of the box, put it on the track, don't touch it, just see what it does by itself. Does it need some tire trimming? Does it need some weight? Does it need something?
Right, right. Yeah.
And some cars, they just go beautifully right out of the box to the track, and they're just superstars. And then some cars need a lot of help and they need a lot of work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I'll show you the car that was most disappointing to me. What do you think it might be? Take a guess.
Well,
And maybe you already know.
I might know because I just ran a car for the first time today. I got my track down today, so I started running some cars and kind of disappointed in it. It's one of my newest cars. I had a little video out on my turntable, and it's the Barracuda, buddy. The Hemi. Oh my God, that's the one.
Okay.
Where's
I
your
don't want to be,
spoiler at?
yeah, I broke it.
Oh
I broke it
no.
off.
Oh, Rob.
Um, I don't want to say incendiary things, but out of the
Is
box,
it
this car sucks. And so what the problem I think is, if you don't do any modification to it, that magnet sits almost just behind the axle. But what I noticed right off the bat is the front end of this car floats. It has no weight on it. It needs weight. And so the car does not handle. And what's funny is I have the other one, I have the yellow one, and I don't know what it is about that car, but that car seems to be okay. I've run that car here on my track. I've run that car at Electric Dreams, no problem. But on this track, this car did not hang. And it's the only car I've ever actually crashed as bad as I did. And so I busted the front air dam off of it. And so I just took it off. And actually, after I did that, Joe took his yellow one. He took the air dam off of that because he saw how it was almost basically dragging on the track. And so, yeah, I don't know exactly what the issue with this car is, but it has no weight on the front. And as it was coming down the hill, the front end was kind of floating, and so it didn't want to turn.
mine was just not gripping. I mean, the tires were gripping, but the mag that's in them, the stock mag, it wasn't holding the rails. So, and I deslotted several times with this, and I stopped because I didn't want to break it yet. So I'm thinking I'm going to add some weight to the front. I've seen a lot of videos on that. They got the lead putty. Slot car dude did that to a couple of cars without major modifications, and it seemed to handle pretty good. So I'm going to try that on this one and see if I can get it to grip better. If I have to, forgive me, everybody out there, but if I have to, I'll put another bar magnet in that thing and see if we get her to stay. That's how I am. I'm looking for speed.
Yeah, I was surprised it didn't have a magnet in front or the middle. The I don't know what they call that, the traction magnet, the one that Carrera usually puts up in the front. But
Yeah, yeah.
I was kind of surprised it didn't have that kind of magnet in it.
And they have the cutouts. I guess I don't have let me put my glasses on. Those cutouts are in front of the magnet there. It's just, that's something you might have to place the magnet that's just behind the rear axle. We both might have to just place that a little further up. I haven't opened this up yet, so I don't know what kind of room we got, but
Right.
I love this car. I mean, look at that car. It's a beauty.
It's a beautiful car. I mean, I am a big Mopar fan. I love Hemi Cudas. I like the yellow one. Maybe it's the wheels that bother me on this one a little bit, but maybe it's so more just the fact that it just didn't run really well out of the box for me. And it
Yeah,
does
that was surprising to me too, because usually scale electrics, and that's all I do is scale electrics, but they usually run really well out of the
Yeah.
box. And this is the only one that I've had that I'm probably gonna have to do some adjusting to it.
That's funny that we had the same issue with that same car. And I wonder what the rest of the community thinks about that car. It's got to be popular, I would assume, right?
Well, I like it. I had to have it. I bought it, and it's got a running mate. It's going to run with those Chargers. It should run with that, and also have the Plymouth.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have that
Plymouth,
one yet.
This one now, you look at them, and they're almost the same car,
Mhm.
and it's just weird that this number 8 Hemi Cuda didn't run as well. This one right out of the box, I've done nothing to this, and it runs good. It runs with those Chargers. Those big Chargers. They're not only fast, but
And those things run great. Remember, we were
yeah,
running those over there at Electric Dreams on the Paula car track?
yeah, yeah. Oh, we had a lot of fun, dude. We were trading a little bit of paint there on that hairpin.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun, boy. Let me tell you.
Now I'm going to show you one of the superstars of this weekend. And I know these are not like for like because obviously one is a more inexpensive, starter car, if you will. And that's not a starter car, but it's kind of an entry level car. But this one here, and I'm going to get my little cardboard back out again so we can take a look. This one here,
Oh yeah.
my Revo slot. And I wish it did say Marlboro on it. I wish it didn't have the little lines on it. But this is an awesome car. And the reason
Yeah.
why I show you this car,
It's a perfect segue too, by the way.
yes, it is. The reason why I show you this car is because you'll see what a big fan I am of that car. Because I also have this one, and this one is a fly.
I don't know anything about the flies and the Revos, man. I just haven't jumped into that lane yet, but
Yeah,
I mean, I know they're good cars.
yeah.
I just don't know if I have the time to tune them up or anything.
I think I got this one for about $24 on eBay.
Wow,
It
that's
runs good. It doesn't run as good as the Revo. And then there's one that even runs better than the Revo, and that's this one here. And everybody knows where I'm going with this because you can see the write on the wall. That's the slotted. And this one
nice
is a
looking car.
this one's a beast on the track. So anyway, you know what I'm waiting for in a couple days, and that would be the new Jägermeister Porsche GT1.
Yeah, you were talking about that. You had that in your cart, right?
I had it
Or
in my
pre-order?
cart,
Yeah, yeah.
and that one is going to be. And I like the livery. I like bright cars on the track. They're easy to see, especially when you eyes are get a little older. But yeah, I love these Porsches, man. They're just really low to the ground. And these just they all look good, even the fly. And the fly's not even half detailed as the slotted or the Revo slot is, but they just look good.
Well, those cars they're designed to be low anyway, so they run better when a car's low, even on a slot car track. When the lower they are, the better they run. You take the body off any car and you run just the chassis, you think, geez, why can't it run like that all the time?
Right,
Because
right.
they run so well. You get into the bigger cars, the American muscle cars, well, they're up a little bit. You gotta adjust some of the magnets on them if that's what you're into to get them to grip. But once you got them to grip, those cars run like beasts, man.
Hmm.
The
Now,
Chargers.
everybody's been talking about the new stuff from scalextric. You've seen the catalog, you've seen all the videos. I've seen the catalog and all the YouTube videos, and I think everybody did a pretty good job of showing that. So we don't have to show that here. We can still talk about it. Are there any highlights from that new Q1 offering that you like?
Well, they didn't have a whole lot of cars to choose from, but yeah, I like and I think everybody's mentioned this. I'm right in there with them, and that's that mid '70s yellow cab. It's an iconic Americana.
The checker cab.
Yeah, the checker cab, the yellow cab, checker cab. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got that one. I pre-ordered that, and the other one I really really like is the newest Batmobile, the '89, I think.
Hmm.
89 Batmobile. I have the 66 now, and the one I don't know the year of the next one they came out with, but that latest one, yeah, I love that one, man. I pre-ordered that too, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, I collect Batmobiles from everything from the slot car versions to the die cast. I've got some larger Batmobiles that I have from companies like Jada, and I think I have a big Hot Wheels one too. I think 1/18th scale, and that one does have both Batman and Robin in it, and it's a really good representation of the car. I was lucky enough, and I think I mentioned this before, I was lucky enough to see the actual Batmobile get sold at auction. Back in the early 80s, my dad took us to Universal City where George Barris was having a large auction and he was getting rid of all his cars. You know, you had all these iconic cars that you saw in the movies. You had the Monkey Mobile, you had the Batmobile, you had the car from Green Hornet, I believe.
right.
You had the Sonny and Cher car, you know, the Mustangs were there with those funky headlights and stuff. You had some of his older stuff that he had created, all those hot rods from the 60s, and then plus the stuff from the 80s, like the cars from Blade Runner, you know.
Right,
And
right.
so we got to see all of these, and it was quite interesting to see what cars from the movies look like. You know, they weren't exactly as polished and finished as you might think. They were still iconic, but I remember the original Batmobile had Radaires on it and Firestone tires. And when we finally saw it, it had Krager Super Sports and some sort of radial tire, obviously, because 66 tires aren't going to be around in the 80s. But yeah, it was pretty special seeing that. I've always been a big fan of the Batmobile. So anytime a new Batmobile comes along, and of course, this one's from '89. Since I have Michael Keaton doing my intro, I've got to get that one. That's the Michael Keaton
Sure.
Batmobile, if you will.
Do you remember? I watched a YouTube video, and it was the Robin, Batman and Robin, but it was the Robin go kart.
No, what is that?
It was the original go kart that Robin would get on, and he'd actually get on his knees on it and lean down and run that thing. And that sold in auction. I'm not
Really?
sure when, but the YouTube video. If you ever look that up, you need to watch that. I think that little go kart came out of the Bat plane or something. It was specially made for Robin because he was just a little guy anyway. But if you ever get a chance, I don't know the name of it, but and I don't remember all of the story, but yeah, that sold at auction too.
I'm going to
When
look
you
that up.
Yeah, look that up. It's a little go. I mean, real little.
Remember the bat boat,
Oh yeah, the bat boat. Oh
the
yeah,
big fin on it, and
yeah,
and the,
yeah.
and the bat helicopter?
Bat helicopter. Yeah, and Catwoman. Don't forget Catwoman.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And the motorcycle. I have all those in like die cast form.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Speaking of diecast, I was going to talk about this because this is kind of an interesting subject for me as well. So this is called the Candy Striper.
Oh yeah, yeah. We talked about that earlier in the week about those diecast cars. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So this is basically a 1/64th scale slot car, sort of based on the Hot Wheels Candy Striper that came out a few years ago. Except the body's a little different because that Candy Striper is actually built off of a gasser body. And this one, that's got the fenders are cut a little different. They're not exactly the same as the Hot Wheel casting. They're more
Right.
square because I believe this is probably one of the earlier Aurora or maybe AFX castings. But nevertheless, the thing I was going to bring up about this car in particular and about some of the things that they do, they didn't do that with this one, obviously. This one I just found in Hobby Lobby for 1999, not a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
But a few years ago, the Candy Striper was introduced by Mattel and sold on the Redline Club website. I unfortunately was not able to get one because the club puts out these cars and everybody is waiting on their computers at home. And then it becomes a mad rush when the car opens to the public and you can buy it. That car today, I have seen listed on eBay for as high as $7,000. Unfortunately,
That's crazy amount, man.
it's insane. But when they introduce these cars with very limited runs, the people who like to collect them and the people who like to race them usually don't get their hands on them. The people who like to sell them and make money off of them get their hands on them. And so you're going to see tons of examples of that, not this version, but the Hot Wheel version of the Candy Striper on eBay for various amounts of money. I've seen them as cheap as $1,500 and as expensive as $7,000. I don't know if they're actually selling or who actually would spend $7,000 on a Hot Wheel that's not from the 60s, but nevertheless, that is a very expensive car. So Mattel tried to do something that some of the other companies are doing. This was a thing that was usually reserved for small toy companies. And so they would do a crowdfunding event and they would try to get their sort of community to basically pay for the production of that toy, whatever that toy may be. And so they'll have a particular goal that they're looking for. In fact, the 3D printer I have here, the Bamboo, that was a crowdfunded product before
Hmm.
it became a publicly sold product.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
The Candy Striper, they came out with another crowd-funded event. I think it was last year. I don't remember what the original goal was, but it included not only the 1/64th version of that Candy Striper Bel Air, but you also got a 1/18th scale version too. So you had to sign up for it. It was $250.
With a guarantee or no guarantee of getting it?
No, no, there's never a guarantee on these. And
That's what sucks about it.
I still didn't spend the 250 because it was a little bit rich for my blood. But unfortunately, the crowdfunding event failed and the cars were not made because it didn't get to the goal they wanted to.
Right, right.
But I do notice this crowdfunding thing is happening with these major manufacturers, and I don't know why, because it was reserved for companies that were small and didn't have the initial funds to create the product. But why is
That makes sense.
Hasbro? Why is Hasbro creating crowdfunded products? And Mattel, these are companies with multi-million dollar budgets. So what do you think about that?
I don't like it. I mean, if you're a Hasbro, Mattel, or you're any big toy company, why do you need to crowdfund? It doesn't make sense. I mean, just spend the money, put something out, put a quality product out, and sell it. But the startup guys, I can see where they would need it, because they might have a great thing going, just not to have the capital to get going. And you crowdfund, you get your product out there, and it catches on, and you become successful or not. But yeah, for a major company to do that, that's almost cheating to me, you know.
Yeah, along that same line, do you remember back in the day when maybe you were younger, you were a kid and you were waiting for particular products to come out, whether it's diecast or Hot Wheels or anything like that, anything you might have bought, Lionel trains.
I remember those.
where there was a pre-order. When did that pre-order thing start? I don't remember the pre-order thing being a thing when I was a kid.
Well, when I was a kid, I don't know if my parents pre-ordered stuff or not. Tell you the truth, all I know is when it was under the Christmas tree, it was there, and I don't recall anything like that as a young kid. Uh, they could have been, but I know mostly everything was ordered out of a catalog. you know.
Yeah, and I thought back in the day when something was available, it was available. You didn't have to wait for it. When you saw it in a catalog, it means it was a product that was available to a certain extent.
Well, yeah, if they sold out, you kind of like you didn't get there in time. But I don't remember any of that. I just remember that when you wanted something, you went to the store and you bought it. If they didn't have it, you waited for their order to come in, and they usually would tell you. It could be car parts, it could be anything. I mean, whatever. If they were out, they would tell you they were out and their orders coming in next week or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty simple actually.
There's a point when I remember when it started, and that's when I was a kid. We just seen the movie Star Wars, and they came out with the original. See, boom.
There
They
you
came
go.
out,
Nice.
they came out with the original set of figures. The small 3 3/4 inch figure. Kenner was a brand new startup, they weren't very big. And I remember George Lucas was trying to find a company that could create these. And basically, all they could do is sell you the promise that these figures would come out. So you would end up
A lot of
having,
back orders. A lot of back orders if you try to get one.
yeah. So kids for Christmas, they didn't get the actual figures under the tree. They got like a cutout with the promise that the figures would be there. My parents had ordered me a number of the figures from Sears, and they never got them. We just didn't get them. And so all these years I look back and I go, man, I didn't get any of those things. I just got I don't even get the cardboard that they even promised.
I've
My
never
parents
heard of
didn't
that.
they
That's
didn't get
funny.
anything. So I don't think I got that present that year for Christmas.
Well,
But
you got to figure that's a big gamble, even in the slot car world. You put out a car, a livery, a new style, new body style, or a TV character car. These guys are taking a chance whether it's going to sell or not. So they probably make so many, and release them, and if they sell, they scramble to make more. But that's a gamble in the business world like that. Especially for slot cars. I would think, especially for slot cars, because pretty narrow market, I think.
I look at the catalog. They just came out with all the scalextric stuff, and I think next week we're going to hear about the Carrera stuff that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It kind of makes me think like, why do they do pre-orders? Are they trying to forecast how many are going to get sold?
Exactly. They want to forecast if they got enough pre-orders to fulfill an initial run, they'll do it, and then they'll add they'll run another percentage higher of the run to try to keep it going. But yeah, that's what I think the pre-orders are for. They want to see the interest in the product, and you know.
I
What are
just
you
feel like
smoking?
they
What are you
just
smoking again?
that's one of these bad boys.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I've only seen you. You smoked one cigar last time I seen you down. I think Electric Dreams, or when we got back to your house.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's cool.
I don't do the cigarettes. I just like the flavor.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, cigarettes. I gotta stop. I'm one of these guys that I smoke. Gotta stop. That was my New Year's resolution. So you can see I didn't. That one didn't work out for me.
Yeah, there's always next year, right?
Well, we hope.
So, and speaking about pre-orders and stuff, whatever happened to our Carrera stuff from last year? We're still waiting for that hippie bus, and it didn't even make it fourth quarter.
Well, who had the hippie bus? Somebody got a hippie bus.
I
Was that a
haven't.
Carrera? Or was it?
Carrera did the hippie bus, and all we've seen right now is pictures of it. I still have one on pre-order from Electric Dreams, which is why I bought the Porsche one because it's like we're already into the new year and the hippie bus never showed up. And
Well, I
so
didn't know that. I mean, I don't buy Carrera cars, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But it may be one of those things where there just wasn't enough interest in it. Now they're either going to fulfill what they have for pre-orders, or they're going to send you a nice little letter saying, "Hey, we have this different model here. Would you like that?" Who knows? I
I
don't
think
know.
Well, I think they'll eventually come up with it. There must have been some sort of tie up. Maybe there was an issue with the paint. Maybe there was questions about maybe the paint scheme, or who knows? Who knows what the tie up may have been, but it didn't get done in time. So we're just still waiting here for our hippie buses. But I'm really curious to see what they're going to come out with. And like yourself, I really don't do a whole lot of Carrera anymore. And it's not, I don't have anything against the cars. I do like the cars and they do run great and stuff. It's
You
just
got some
that
beautiful cars
scale.
out
The
there.
scale is so big.
It does seem they do seem a little bit bigger, almost like a 1/28th or a 1/30th scale or something. Huh? There must be some kind of tolerance that they can still call it a 1/32nd. I don't know, but they do seem a little bigger than a when you put them up against another brand, you know, like especially Scalextrics, you know, which
Yeah.
I think Scalextrics does a exceptional job at the 1/32nd scale, true scale. When you look at all the cars together, you know you could see that, yeah, you know, the Mustangs were smaller than the Chargers, right? You just I don't know. That's what I noticed. So
Yeah, I'll put a Mustang next to one of I have one of those GTYs. I'll put it next to one of the 68 Chargers from Pioneer. And that Mustang is just massive compared to that Charger.
yeah, it's
In real
crazy.
life, it wouldn't be like that. But I'm waiting to see what they come out with. And I'll tell you, I'm going to break my rule about Carrera. And if they come out with those Hendrix cars, I need all of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I was just you we're talking Carrera, and I don't know that I'll buy those Carrera cars, but I get a feeling Scale Electrics is going to follow suit with the NASCAR.
Uh-huh.
They did a few licensed NASCARs in the '80s, you know, and you know you had the Terry Labonte #5, what cornflakes, and you had the Mark Martin #6. Those were all out
Mhm.
in the '80s and actually '90s, I think. But yeah, I think that I'll wait for Scale Electric, and of course, Scale Electric hasn't revealed what they're going to do the rest of the year. You know,
Mhm.
second half of the year or the second and third quarter, fourth quarter, what they're going to release. I really love to see some NASCAR stuff.
Well, they already have their fantasy liveries or fake liveries.
Yeah, yeah, I have a few of those.
And I do like their Monte Carlo and I do like the Thunderbird. Be nice to get a couple more models of that and then put
Mhm.
real licensed liveries on those, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite eras of NASCAR. I liked everything up till the COT, the car tomorrow.
Yeah, not a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people I know really care for that car. But
Yeah. And I'm not really signed on with this new one that they've got, but it's kind of weird to see like what looks to me like tuner wheels on a NASCAR.
yeah,
NASCAR to me always had steel black wheels,
and 5 lug nuts.
five
So
lug.
I don't like
Not a center lug.
that, man. That's reserved for open wheel racing, far as I'm concerned. When they went to that, I mean, I get why you're trying to save time in a pitch, but if everybody's doing the same thing, how much everybody's equal? So it's called a stock car for a reason.
Yeah. And there's a reason
The
why.
only thing that was stock was the steel wheels and the 5 lug nuts, but that made it a stock car to me. You know, I
Yeah.
just think it was funner to watch them in the pits.
There's a reason why those cars didn't have hydraulic lifts on them because part of the strategic portion of that was the pit crew and how fast they could change those tires and do everything else they had. And I got to go to California Speedway one year for one of the races and I saw how they do it and they glue the lug nuts to the wheels.
Right,
So
right.
when they put the wheels on, they just have to hit it with the
Later,
impact.
Pat.
They're done. They're done.
I would like to just say, 2 weeks ago when we did the first one, I was mentioning, you asked a question when I got back into slot cars, and I kind of left a kind of vague, short story, but I'm going to make even a shorter story here. I mentioned a chassis that I found in my attic, and I want to show it to you real quick. This is what got me back into slot cars after 50 years. I believe it's a Revell, possibly. This is one of the aftermarket cars that came with my original set.
Mhm.
This was a Ferrari with a Lexan body.
Right.
It had 2 pins that came into the sides and held that body on. So that was 4 years ago when I found this. And it wasn't until a year ago that I actually started the YouTube channel. And just want to clarify that I haven't been doing YouTube for 4 years. I've been doing it for a little over a year and built a permanent track, of course. 3 years prior to that, I had my track set up on my garage. And let me tell you something. I bought a set called California Classic right after I got through reminiscing and when I found that chassis. And that's where these two cars, these two original cars here, the Camaro and the Mustang, and you can see the Mustang's been on its roof quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Camaro's missing most parts. So we set this track up, and it was a California Classic. It was like an oval with a couple little turns in it, and it was pretty cool and everything. But after about 30 minutes of racing this with my son, at that time he wanted to race it with me. The first thing we realized was it's just not big enough. There's not enough track. So we got on Amazon and we started looking up. And of course, at this point, I'm just getting back into it. And I look on Amazon thinking, well, maybe they got something for Scalextric's track, and they had every expansion pack you can think of, the 8-pack straights, the 8-pack R3 turns. So we bought like 6 packs of straights, 6 packs of turns. We didn't even know what we were going to do with it. But by the end of that day, or after we got the delivery, by the end of that day, my track, I get a standard garage here basically, and I have an old 54 pickup that normally sits right here where my table is. That track went 17 feet straight away, did a little bit of road course stuff. It went under my truck, around by the workbench, come back out the front of the truck, underneath my motorcycle. I mean, what was too small, well, we went exaggerated to the other side, which was way too big. And it was so wide, we took up the whole garage and you couldn't see the cars when they went under the truck, and they'd usually wipe out over there. But I think it was like 130 feet of track, when we were done. So the thing is I realized, well, I don't want to be doing this either. I'm not going to be, getting up and down and going chasing cars because, I'm a slot car racer. I'm not a slot car chaser.
That's a t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a slot car racer, not a slot car chaser. So, we raced it and it was fun. We had the grandkids over here, so they'd go chase the cars for us, and of course, this was 4 years ago. And each year for 3 years, we would just set up tracks. Every year was a different design. And it was always on the garage floor where all the dirt debris gets everywhere. But I got some video of what we did back then. It's old stuff. It's not on my YouTube channel, but it wasn't until last year, January 3rd of 2023, that holiday season. Then after the first of the year, 2023, my grandson says, hey man, you got to start a YouTube channel. So that's when the YouTube channel, and that's when I decided I'm going to put my layout more permanent, but mobile also, because I use my garage for many other things than just slot cars. I got a motorcycle. I got everything. If you look right now, because it's cold out here, I don't know if you can see my heater back there.
Yeah.
Keeping me warm, man, because it's cold out here tonight. But anyway, yeah, so, that's kind of like to finish that story from 2 weeks ago. I've been into it back for 4 years to slot cars and 1 year on YouTube. And I just love it, man. I love it. I love the community. It's growing. We just got to get it to grow. Robert, we just got to keep it going, man, and keep the slot car things up there. Keep putting out content. It don't matter what you put out. I mean, just put it out there, man. This is your passion. It's our passion. So that's what's fun about it is I'm building a slot car video diary, digital video diary for the future. And I like it. My kids like it. My grandkids like it. And some people enjoy it too, so it's fun. And I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
Those are perfect reasons for having it. For me, I wanted to record the races so that we can go back and look to see how cool the passes were and the crashes were and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Slow motion crashes are the best.
The slow motion stuff. Your slow mo actually looks pretty good. I haven't been able to get mine to look that smooth yet. Mine's always kind of, maybe it's the LEDs I have. I get a lot of flicker. I haven't figured out how to get that flicker out of them.
Well, one thing I noticed is under my bridges, mine's all LED too, but when I'm under the bridges filming a car coming down or up the helix, I don't get flicker, and I don't know if it's just the LEDs or the wattage or the volts. It's all running on 24 volts, so I don't know if that makes a difference. But I know when I'm out in the open, I get flicker from my ceiling lights, which are LED. I think those are the ones that are doing it, not the little LEDs I have on my track. So anyway, hey, one more thing.
Yep.
How about the best car I've run this week? And I got two of them.
Okay, let's see what you got. Yep, I agree with that.
You agree with that?
I agree with that one. That one, I don't know what it is, man, but that one is just a
Oh, this car is
rocket.
wonderful. Let me show you the other one. It's one I've had for a while. I just haven't run it in a while. It's brand new. It's almost like my logo car, but it's the 83
Ah,
Mustang, 1970. I think it's Al Costner. Al Costner drove this car. This one runs like just unbelievably fast. It grips. It's just a great car.
on that same line, this is the one that strikes fear in Joe every time.
Oh yeah, that's a great car right there.
And it's getting a little
Love
bit
that car.
beat up, a little bit beat up. But this is the one that usually causes him to crash because he can't keep up with it. And so he'll have me race his Sunoco Camaro
I
and
have
he'll
that
have me
one.
race his Pioneer Mustang. And this thing is just a beast on the track. And I don't know what it is. It's just like everything. I haven't had to do anything with it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, no, those are awesome cars,
It's
man.
just,
Beautiful too. Look at that car. That's
yeah,
a that's a good car.
it just runs. It's one of the fastest cars I have of Scalextric. Holds the track, looks awesome. I mean, what more can I ask, you know?
Yeah. I think the issue is, several guys have touched on this with driving techniques, and I got to tell you, Slot Car Dude's another guy that his techniques or same ones I've been using is you got to concentrate on your car and nobody else's car. Even if you're not, if you're not leading and this guy's getting away from you, the more you look at his car or think you've got to catch him now, you're gonna de-slot, man, and it happens so often around here. The kids, they haven't figured that out yet, so I get ahead of them and I just wait for them to de-slot, and then I walk away with another win.
If you can run consistently, error free, usually that's the guy that wins. Joe just won another race down at the track with his
Oh,
Flexi.
oh, nice, nice.
And now they're running, they used to be running these Toyota bodies. Um, there it is. They used to be running these Toyota bodies, but now they switched to NASCAR bodies. So he's running the NASCAR, and yeah, he told me he won again.
They paint them up though, right? They're
They
not
paint
just
him up, yeah. And I think he's because I was going to paint this one, and he's like, "Well, we're not going to run those anymore. They've changed the NASCAR." So now he's running the NASCAR, and he says that that he won again. So, you know, he was a champ last year. See what he does this year. But I
Buddy
think they
Joe
moved him up
Bob.
though. I think he doesn't race sportsman anymore. I think he's racing the pro class.
Yeah. Well, Buddy Joe Bob, we got a challenge still. We got to finish up with racing. We only got to race a couple laps at your place after Electric Dreams, and he sure likes to talk it up. So I'm looking forward to that challenge, and you got to let him know that I said that we're gonna race, man.
We gotta race before I tear down this track here.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
because
Yeah,
once I move, he's probably going to be 5 hours away from me. He's probably not going to be coming up very often, if at all.
yeah. I think you guys ought to try to get a Saturday free and come up here and race here at Slot Car Daddy Raceway. I think you guys will enjoy the double helix and the speed that this track gives you. And
Yeah. Well,
and
I
look,
won't be too far away from you from there, so that we'll still be able to do that. It's just he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the odd man out, living way up on top of the mountain.
well,
But
that's what happens when you move out off on your own like that. You FaceTime them, show them the race.
yeah, yeah. Well, this has been another good one, and we'll do another one when we get a chance. I don't know when that's going to be, but we'll call this episode 2. And any final words?
Like I said last time, man, just if you get into this hobby, be prepared it's going to cost you a little bit of money, but not as much as you think. You control how much you spend. It's real easy to go overboard, and just be careful. Have fun racing. Definitely get your layout. Buy a layout because you're going to get a couple of cars with it, and it's probably your best option to get started in the hobby. But after that, there's a deep hole. It's called the rabbit hole. If you really like it, you'll spend a little bit of money getting more cars. That's just what happens.
And most of all, out of everything, just have fun, man.
Have fun.
Just have fun. This is the one constant thing I have. When the rest of the world is falling apart around me, I got my slot cars.
We got our slot car space, and
there you go.
That's fun, yeah.
So again, this is another episode of the Talking Slot Heads podcast with Rob DeLeon of the DeLeon Slot Car Raceway, and I'm sitting here again with
Ted Anderson with the Slot Car Daddy channel, and we appreciate you guys watching, and have fun racing, guys.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please give us a like and subscribe.